Yo, welcome to the Mac Sports Attack. I'm the Mac himself, Marvin Allen Cox, and let's get right into it. Greg Berhalter, does he deserve to be fired? Well, man, one thing we can say is that there has been an uproar for his firing. This is the first thing of its sort I've seen in American soccer. I remember growing up playing high school soccer here in the state of Georgia is where I reside, and people used to call us grass fairies. People used to say soccer is not a real sport. And somehow, a couple years ago, we got Atlanta United, actually worked for them as well. And now everybody loves soccer in the state of Georgia. It's amazing how the culture shift of soccer here in the States. And now everybody is asking for Greg Berhalter's head. Is it fair? Are we judging him wrong? Let's talk about it. So first and foremost, tell me in the comments what you think before I get into it. Do you think Greg Berhalter deserves to stay? Do you think it's his time to go? And he definitely underwhelmed in this Copa America. Yes, it's not the manager's fault alone, but does he get enough of the blame to be fired? So first and foremost, let's go over some facts, man. It's looking even worse. Today is Sunday. People are saying that his judgment will come this coming up week. Tomorrow is Monday. There's been reports that it will be Monday, the day they make the decision. But I have a strong feeling that the U.S. men's national team is not going to work that quickly. Unfortunately, they do take a while. So I'm guessing close to the end of the week is when we will hear news on Greg Berhalter firing. But today, we do know that in the semifinals, Canada and Uruguay will take part. And they're led by the two coaches us fans wanted to be our head coach other than rehiring Greg Berhalter. Bielsa with Uruguay and Jesse Marsch, the U.S. legend, with Canada. Another thing, a lot of people used to blame the reason the U.S. will never get over the hurdle is because of MLS players. Well, guess what? 13 players on that Canadian team are from the MLS, and they made it. They got through. They look I definitely don't think they have better talent than what we have in our player pool. We're going to talk about that as well. But it just seems like they are better coached. Let's be real. Their demeanor seems on point. They play as a unit. And it just seems like systems are set up and they're following it. And that's why they made it through. Let's talk about it. The first time ever in Copa America history that the host did not get out of the group stage. We, the host, this year in the US of A, the Copa America is striving with all of our fans going in, pumping money into the tournament, all of the marketing we have here. Yes, the fields have been poor. That's for another video. But with us being the host and not making it through, we are a laughingstock. We are the first host ever. When you say ever, that's a bad thing. This is the first time in 20 continental and global tournaments played at home that we did not make it out the group. That includes 17 Gold Cups, 2 Copa Americas, and the World Cup. That was actually here in the state of Georgia, in Atlanta. So, we've never hosted a major tournament and not made it out the group stage. The host of Copa America has never made it out the group stage. And these are both things under Greg Berhalter. That alone says enough for me. Now, when he was rehired, a lot of people said there was favoritism. You know, his cousin is part of the hiring process. He wanted him back in. We had drama in the World Cup. Do I think he did a good job in the World Cup? Yes, I'll give him a passing grade. You know, we got out a strong group. You know, we got a decent performance against England. And, you know, we lose to Netherlands. But it was a well-fought match. But, you know, usually a 4-year cycle is detrimental when you rehire the coach, at least in our United States of America Soccer Federation history. Usually when a guy comes to his second term, the wheels start to fall off the players need a new voice, a new coach. And there's nothing wrong with that. Greg Berhalter, even though he's not perfect, he would have been celebrated for what he has done in that World Cup. But let's not forget, there was drama in that World Cup as well. There was drama with Gio Reyna and Claudio Reyna and the boys. Did we think that drama was just going to dissipate? Was it going to bring it on added drama to the national team going forward? Yeah, it seemed like he cleared that up well, but that was one of the reasons we didn't want him to come back on board. Now we have Jesse Marsch coming out and saying that there was not a fair hiring process, and he really felt like he was applying and being interviewed for shits and giggles because it seemed like they already looked to hire Greg Berhalter. So that is something we need to investigate in itself. Was Greg Berhalter unfairly hired? Did he have a super advantage because of someone in a higher position giving him the thumbs up? And did we miss out on an opportunity to hire a better coach because of that? Now, if we went through a regular, just and fair hiring process and they still hired him, maybe we'll be more at peace with it. But now knowing this information that it was rigged makes it even worse. Makes us want to get him out of here even more. And another thing that is against Greg Berhalter is B.J. Callahan. B.J. Callahan took over and he was undefeated. 4 wins, 3 draws, and won the Nations League, beating Canada, who is in the semifinals of Copa America right now, beating Mexico, and beating Panama, the team that beat us this Copa America, which I was there here in Atlanta to see the buffoonery. I'm going to try not to curse in this video. He beat the 3 teams that are pretty much making us look horrible right now. Panama moving on to the next round. Canada now with Jesse Marsch into the semifinals of Copa America. It seems like everything that's come to the pass is blowing up in our face. It's blowing up in Greg Berhalter's face. Is this karma? Is this the soccer gods telling us Greg got to go? And before, we pass judgment, let's remember, let's think back. Before this Copa America, they said this is a big litmus test if Greg Berhalter should be our coach moving forward. Not only do we need to get out of the group, we need to get to the semifinals to show promise, to show evolution of the team, and to have the rest of the country, the fans, and the player group excited going into 2026, where the World Cup is going to be here, baby. That's what we were saying before Copa America. And guess what? We got grouped. So if before Copa America, that was the standard, that was the litmus test, and that was the requirements we were putting heavily on this team to make sure this coach needs to be the coach moving forward. And you drastically don't meet any of those goals by getting grouped before we can even analyze what happened in the games to get you to us getting grouped. Because a lot of it, you can say wasn't Greg's fault, or was it? But the results are the results, baby. We're in sports. Sports is very cutthroat, ruthless business. Greg has had a long time with the team. It's not like we're prematurely firing him. If you didn't meet the results, why do you deserve to be the coach moving forward? Now, I never wanted Greg back. Personally, I've said that in different videos. I will try to resurface them if you want to call me out. But this is when we should have known it was time for Greg to go. B.J. Callahan goes undefeated, right? Now, this is where I think Greg should go, and then I'll fast forward to what happened to this Copa America and see if this is why he should go. I honestly don't think it's 100% Greg's fault for the performance on the field. We have to blame the players to a certain extent as well. But Greg Berhalter, we just get off of Callahan going undefeated, 4 wins and 3 draws, in case you were wondering, winning the CONCACAF Nations League, and giving everybody a warm feeling in their chest, because not only did we all feel like Greg was gone and we was having a new start, a new wave, it seemed like the players were excited, and it seemed like BJ Callahan brought that out of these players. Greg comes back, and in the most recent CONCACAF Nations League, we played Trinidad and Tobago. Now, it sucks for me because I'm half Trinidadian, and I usually root for Trinidad and Tobago when we play them. But there was one time I could not. And that was the time we played Trinidad and Tobago's B team, and we needed to beat them to get into the World Cup. And we couldn't. So we already... Now I know the soccer fans in this country, my fellow Americans, they hate on Trinidad and Tobago now. Justifiably so. There's a bad taste in your mouth for missing a World Cup, right? Well, Greg Berhalter comes back, and we have a CONCACAF Nations League. And we demolished them. First leg, 3-0. Took care of business. Handled them. And it started to create a good feeling again. Okay, maybe Greg does deserve to have the second chance. Maybe this team has evolved. Maybe, mentally, if we can demolish Trinidad and ruin the story of they're the team that kicked us out, we could start to move forward, move on. But no. The second leg, we lose 2-1. Serginho Dest gets a stupid-ass red card. And this is why this Copa with Weah looks even worse. But we'll get there. And we lose, and we have a bad taste in our mouth. What is going on? We can't beat Trinidad for real. Was the first time Greg beat them. Lucky. Now, I do know that when we lost in the World Cup cycle to not get to there, that wasn't Greg coaching. Let's not put that on Greg. I am aware. I know you're going to come for me. But this circle around, it is the new manager's job to say, forget about the past. Let's get over that hump and start new. And he did not start new, losing to Trinidad and Tobago 2-1 with the red card. Even though we advance, we go through. There's a bad taste in our mouth. We're supposed to be a superior, talent-wise nation than Trinidad and Tobago. Sorry, my Trinis, Mr. Lavina. Then we go ahead and we lose 1-0 to Slovenia. So we're not having good traction, right? That's how we begin 2024, losing to Slovenia. We go ahead and the semifinals come for the Nations League. And this, to me, is the worst performance I think I've ever seen in the United States of soccer. Because it looked like Jamaica didn't bring their full squad. Actually, I know they didn't because they had drama. Why can't I remember his name right now? The Premier League winger, Leon Bailey. He pulled out of the team last minute, saying they don't pay for hotels and transportation and stuff. So there was drama with Jamaica. They didn't have their best players. Antonio was injured. And they came and they were dominating us like we were nothing. They went into late in the game. And by the graces of God, in stoppage time, like Jude Bellingham here for England to make them advance with that crazy goal, and they won in extra time, we pulled that off. He brought in super sub. I don't know how this man is a super sub. And Haji Wright scores. Haji Wright saves us. Haji Wright is a god. And Haji gets us to extra time where we go on and win. After that game, I wanted Greg Berhalter fired. You have a horrible performance against Trinidad to end the year in the quarterfinals of this CONCACAF Nations League, where BJ Callahan just went undefeated in the last cycle to win, beating Canada, Mexico, and Panama, the teams that haunting us today. And you're not only losing to Trinidad, you're struggling to compete, not even to beat, to compete with Jamaica. That's just piss poor. So we handle our job and beat Mexico. And that fills our heart because Mexico has been demons for the Americans in the past. Mexico was the best team in CONCACAF in the past. But let's be real. The only real good thing Greg Berhalter has done in recent memory is continue to beat Mexico. And I was one of the fools who was I can't say I was one of the fools because I always wanted him fired. But there's a lot of us who were blinded by those results because we were tired of losing to Mexico. But now seeing Mexico, this has been the worst Mexican generation in results we've ever seen. Within the last 2 years, they've had 1 million coaches. It seems like they have no superstars. I can't even tell you who their 11 is anymore. When we used to know, Claudio Bravo and Ochoa and Chucky Lozano and all these players. Now I can't name you more than half the team. So really, the results over Mexico seem to weigh less with Greg Berhalter in charge. So really, those are not impressive. Hindsight 2020. We handle business. We beat Mexico. We win the Nations League. And I think that's what saves them. The U.S. men's national team front office, the USSF Federation, they're able to save face. Hey, yes, it did look ugly. It wasn't good. But survive in advance. We won. We're holding a trophy. Greg's going to be better. Greg's going to move on. We're going to prove it in Copa America. And not only are we going to get out the group, we're going to compete to go far. So what happens the next time we see our lovely, lovely young men in the red, white, and blue? We see them play Colombia. Now, Colombia, one of the hottest teams in the world right now, on the planet right now. I believe now they're on a 26-game unbeaten streak. The time they played us, I believe they were on a 23-game unbeaten streak. They broke a record for them on the longest unbeaten streak. So, honestly, Colombia is a lot, just like Mexico is a lot worse than the past. Colombia is on point right now. Colombia is on fire. They just won 5-0 the other night, heading into the semifinals. But we have said countless times, for months, we're going to judge on Copa America, and we're going to show out and show the world we are ready for the World Cup. And for the tune-up match to the World Cup, we play Colombia, and they smack us 5-1. They embarrass us. They make us look like little kids, like the senior squad were playing the under-21s. And it's one of the worst results in the past half a decade in U.S. men's national soccer team history. 5-1 decimation against Colombia. So after we barely beat Jamaica, I think Greg should have left. I think Greg should have been fired. I think Greg should have been canned. And we get a new coach, and they can show what they're about in Copa America. New mentality, new energy, something we can be proud about. And even if they don't do well in Copa, we can be like, okay, this is their first coaching job. Maybe with this team, maybe he'll build some traction going towards 2026. But no, we stay with Greg, and we say from his mouth, Copa America is a must. Copa America is where we're going to show out. Copa America is where results will happen. You get smacked 5-1 by Colombia. He could have been fired then too to me. But no, that would be weird. That would be outlandish. That would be silly. And that would be, unthoughtful for the players who came into this pool and are ready to go into the tournament in a couple weeks' time. Right? I don't think that would have been a good time to fire him, even though you can assume he should have been fired from that result alone. So, as I'm going through the summary of Greg Berhalter recent memory with this U.S. men's national team preview, my answer is Greg should be fired. So just off of this result alone, going into Copa, in my head, I'll be like, hey, if he just makes it to the quarterfinals and doesn't do anything impressive with the team, let's get rid of him. Let's axe him. I think that's justifiable. So then we go and play Brazil. In Brazil, we tie with them 1-1. Very lackadaisical game. Nothing happened. No excitement. But it's Brazil, right? So everybody thinks, yo, we tie with Brazil. Okay, we went from getting smacked 5-1 to a tie with Brazil. But then Ronaldinho comes out and says this is one of the worst Brazil teams he's ever seen. Brazil just gets knocked out by Uruguay. Looks like one of the worst Brazil teams we've ever seen. Ever seen. People are making jokes about Pele's in his grave saying I'm Ghanaian. Like, don't come for me, Brazil fans. I didn't say that. It's a meme I saw. So, we are all seeing this in real life. This all has to be factored in to this next week assessment on Greg keeping his job or not. So you have, before Copa America, 5-1 loss to Colombia and a tie with Brazil, who now that you see them get knocked out of the tournament has not been impressive. We get into Copa. We have one of the most, should I say easiest? I don't want to say easiest, but we have one of the most favorable options to get out the group. Bolivia, Panama, Uruguay. Yes, we all know Uruguay is a good team. They're probably better than us. But at minimum, we should be competing with them for first place and get out the group. We play against Bolivia. We beat them 2-0. But we should have beat them 5-6. It was obvious, clear as day. We just couldn't finish. It was a lackadaisical performance, but we went 2-0. You know? Okay, let's see what happens with Panama. And I take my butt to the Panama game here in the state of Georgia, in Atlanta, downtown, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, one of the best stadiums in the world, now one of the most popular stadiums in soccer because of how Atlanta United has been selling out. The place I used to work and sell for Atlanta United, where I saw firsthand Atlanta United win the championship and raise a trophy with Josef Martinez and somebody who was in Copa America, Miguel Amarón. The energy was electric. They say Atlanta is not really a good U.S. men's national team home crowd. That's not true. After you watch this game, we was cheering, we was chanting, and they came out with energy. I give you that. I would say Greg coached them up right, saying, hey, we were lackadaisical against Bolivia. We got to show out in this game and get a result. Let people know what we're about. And I'm sitting in the 100 section, so we're pretty close. We're seeing everything that's going on. None of us saw Tim Weah hit him in the face. None of us saw Tim Weah hit him in the head. We don't know what the hell's going on. They're not really giving us any updates. There's no replays or nothing on the video boards like they usually do. And we have to go onto our phones and tune in to see what happens. And we see Weah touch homie in the face. Yes, the ref was bad, but the ref originally gave him a yellow, guys. Let's call a spade a spade. And after they reviewed it, he had to give him the red. But even with that happening, Bono scores a goal. A beautiful goal. An effortless goal. An amazing goal. And we're up 1-0. And at that moment, I'm thinking, all of us in the crowd, people we don't know, we're all talking to each other. I'm talking to my boys. This is when Greg has to show us something. Everybody's like, what is Greg going to do? Everybody's talking about what formation change they would do, what personnel changes we would do. Obviously, we're not managers. We don't have our coaching license. You know, I have some minor coaching license and my black badge for reffing. But I don't have no UEFA license. Who the hell are we? We're just fans murmuring around. And I thought after that goal, Greg somehow will calm the team down, change the formation, and say, guys, let's play for a result right now. We're up 1-0. We just scored. Let's make sure we're relaxed, we're organized, and play and see how it shapes out until halftime. Panama scores almost immediately with no changes. That's another fireable offense. Now, did Greg plan for there to be a red card? No. There's a lot of people saying, well, Tyler Adams shouldn't have played, because in case something like that happened, you got to use a sub on him. It's Tyler freaking Adams, bro. He's a beast. He's a boss. He's not only one of the best leaders on our squad right now, he has an amazing heart, even if he could play one half. I don't blame Greg for that. I'd play Tyler Adams too. But it just seems after that goal, there was no direction to the team. There was no calming them down. There was no let's figure this out. There was no let's play till half because we're down a man. There was nothing. He did nothing. And then at halftime, it seems like he panics. He makes, 3 subs? And then he has to sub Matt Turner. So let's give him some credit for that as well. He didn't expect his number one goalie to be hurt. He brings in Ethan Horvath. And honestly, we didn't play bad from that point. We almost scored a couple times. We just we couldn't finish. And then Panama, even that goal, I honestly think it was well defended. They blocked the shot. It deflected. Somehow it goes back right to the guy's feet wide. He swings it in. And they score. It comes right through Ethan's hands by his face. I believe he should have saved it. Everybody's going to scream, we could have defended better. But the most important thing is we didn't get the result. And now we're in the doghouse. Before Copa America, remember, the determination on him moving forward is if he gets out the group and shows promise. And we just lost to Panama. Now let's go to Uruguay. Let's make it quick. A lot of people are shitting on Matt Turner, saying he can't kick the ball out. He's hurt. He was hurt. He came back in. He was hurt. Some people's going to say, oh, okay, if you're hurt, you shouldn't play. Ethan Horvath gave up a shitty goal against Panama. Who knows if mentally he was ready to play. I'm going to give Matt Turner a pass. But we did come out of that. We came out there same as the beginning of the Panama game. It seemed like we came out there with a good mentality, with good fight. I think we played pretty well. And then Balo gets hurt. Balo was our only goal-scoring threat the whole tournament, it seemed like. So, yes, a lot of people is going to say, blame Greg Berhalter for that. And personally, even though I want him fired, I really can't. I think we played well. But this is what I will blame Greg for in that game. Panama ties it. Now we only need a draw. The team was playing very inspired, hard-nosed, trying to get a result. Uruguay has a free kick. And right before the free kick, Greg, clear as day, we seen the video. He tells the team, it's 1-1. It's 1-1. And immediately after, Uruguay scores. Coincidence or not? I don't know. But I feel like it's not a coincidence. I feel like him telling them 1-1 maybe shifted their focus just a slight bit to where Uruguay scores that goal. Now, yes, the goal was offsides. The ref was horrible. He didn't shake Pulisic's hand at the end of the game. There's so much stuff that I can say wasn't Greg's fault. The refereeing, that goal should have been offsides. Balogun getting hurt. But that 1-1, I don't know. It doesn't sit well with my spirit. It doesn't sit well with my soul. And then we can't even score a goal to at least tie it up. Because if the Panama game did end 1-1, if we tied it, we would have went through. But no. No results. A lot of people could blame Greg Berhalter for not... It seems like everybody and their mama talked about the ref before the Panama game. We know this referee isn't right. We know this referee isn't well. We know this referee... It seems like they were more worried about the referee than Panama itself. But that was okay if they dominated them. So if everybody knows about the ref and everybody's prepared that the ref isn't, prone to make good decisions, why in the blue hell does Tim Weah in the first quarter of the game pushing a man in the face then? That means you have no control of your squad. You have no. Do they respect you? Do they listen to you? If they're not listening to you, are you really the person qualified to continue being the manager and the coach moving forward? It's things after things after things. So if the U.S. Soccer Federation is truthful and is based on results, lost to Trinidad with a red card, getting smacked by Colombia right before Copa America, tying with the lackluster Brazil right before Copa America, barely beating Bolivia when we should dominate, and then losing to Panama, and next losing to Uruguay, and then getting grouped and kicked out of Copa America early. That is countless number of results in his second tenure as a head coach that have all been failures, lackluster mediocrity. So after giving you this summary of events, what do you feel? How do you feel? I personally think it's time to move on. I think after the World Cup initial cycle, where you can say it was a successful World Cup, his voice just, it's gone. Because Tim Weah wasn't listening to him when he warned them about the ref. He's still getting a red card. So if your voice is gone and you can't coach the team properly, and the results are bad, where you can't get a result, why the hell are you the manager? It's time to move on. It's time to move forward. United States men's national team, it's time for a new coach. It's time for new hope. Now, no, we can't see the future and say, well, if they hire somebody else, what if they don't do good in the World Cup? That's not the point. The point is that we tried to make a change to make sure that the continuing lackluster activity was stopped before it got worse. Because when we host this World Cup, you want all the fans engaged, you want all the sponsors engaged, and you want all the players engaged. And right now, we have the American Outlaws and the 3 top supporter groups for the U.S. men's national team saying they're not going to no more games if Greg Berhalter is the head coach, and they're going to boycott sponsors. They never talk about the U.S. men's national team on ESPN and stuff like that. Let's be real. And I've seen a video every single day for a whole week. I love it. It's impressive. Let's keep it happening because I love soccer and I love my country. But that just shows the big uproar that our country is having. We're actually having unity for once. And in unified thought, we want Greg Berhalter fired. So let's get it done because I'm afraid to see what happens next week if they say we're staying with Greg Berhalter. I'm afraid to see the backlash that's going to come from fans. I'm afraid to see how many more support groups are going to combine with the big 3 and say we're not watching, we're not going to the games, and we're boycotting sponsors. It's a big mess that you don't want to have, especially when you're hosting the next World Cup. You're not going to Germany, you're not going to Qatar, you're not going to South Africa, where you could be like, okay, who cares if they don't show up? We're going to the next country anyway. You're going to be the home team and the host nation to a World Cup. And imagine if we had a game and the whole stadium is cheering for the other team on your own soil. U.S. men's national team, USSF. Let's do the right thing. He's a great guy. We love him. But let's move on from Greg Berhalter. Let's start bringing excitement to this team because 2026 is coming soon. And the fight needs to start from today. I appreciate y'all watching. Let me know your thoughts. Would you fire Greg Berhalter or you think I'm tripping? If you mess with the video, give it a like. Throw me a subscribe. I'm Marvin Allen Cox, also known as the Max Sports Attack. And I'm out.